Good morning, and today I want to talk about the real estate market on the Albanian coast and whether I think this is a good investment going forward or not. I will give you 10 reasons why I think it potentially could be a good investment. I will give you the negatives and then my conclusion where you should invest at the end. So here are the 10 reasons why I think potentially it could be a good investment. Number one, now Albanian coast, the prices are very, very low. So often you can get beachfront property for less than €1,000 per square meter. Now, consider where in Europe can you do that? So I think that's the major advantage. Property on the beach is very, very, very cheap. Number two, the buy-sell costs in Albania are actually quite low at less than 10%, a lot lower than in many other countries. Number three, taxation, although quite complicated, is actually really reasonably low when it comes to rental income and capital gains tax at both 15%, so quite reasonable. Number four, Albania is an emerging market, so you've got potentially a little bit of a first mover advantage. Although there has been investment in the past, there hasn't been too much investment in the last few years. So potentially you've got that first mover advantage with very low prices. Number five, as with many other emerging markets, tourism has been booming and is expected to boom going forward. Number six, the Albanian lek has actually been quite a stable currency. In actual fact, it's actually done quite well against the euro and the US dollar over the last 5 years. Consider that the British pound has done not so well. So it's a pretty stable currency. Number seven, the total debt to GDP is it's not low, but it's quite reasonable and has fallen from 72% in 2015 to 65% in 2019. Now, a lot of this, unfortunately, is actually due to the currency appreciation. So as the debt is a lot of Albanian foreign debt is euro denominated. So as the lek has increased against the euro of the last 5 years, the actual debt has come down because of this. Number eight, there are no restrictions to foreigners buying in Albania except for agricultural land. So you will have equal rights as Albanians do. So that's a good thing. Number nine, what I also like, the growth in Albania, the GDP growth over the last 5 years. So before COVID-19, 2015 to 2019, each year has been over 2%. That's pretty good performance. And finally, number 10, if you've ever tried to open a bank account in a foreign country, it's often quite difficult. They want a lot of documentation, proof of residency, various other things. But in actual Albania, it's actually really easy to open a bank account. You just walk in, passport, and you open a bank account. Pretty much like Bulgaria 10 to 15 years ago. So I've given you 10 brief advantages. But I want to give you some disadvantages now, and they're quite serious ones. Now, as in many other countries in the world, if you do decide to rent your property on the coast, it's very, very seasonal, and also the yields are pretty low. Number two, there's actually a lack of local demand. So salaries in Albania are pretty low, in particular places like Durrës, Vlora and Saranda, where I'm going to concentrate this video on. So Durrës, the average salary is less than €300 US dollars per month net. Vlora is slightly lower, and Saranda is lower still at around 230 to 250 US dollars per month net. I'm sure you'll agree those salaries are very, very low. I also want to come to my third point, which is unemployment. Unemployment in Albania is actually very, very high. And if you look at the last 20 years, it's actually always been 12% or more. I'm sure you'll agree with me. That is really, really high unemployment and consistently high unemployment. So that's not good for the property market. Number four, I want to combine two things, the low birth rate and the high migration. So the birth rate in Albania, actually when I looked this up, I was actually really surprised because I was expecting it to be higher. But the birth rate in the last 30 years, so from around 1990 to 2019, has virtually halved from 3.15 to 1.6. I'm sure you'll agree that is not great going forward for the housing market. And combine this as well, since 1991, approximately 1.4 to 1.5 million Albanians have actually left the country. They've emigrated mainly to Greece and Italy. And if you read the surveys, over 50% of Albanians actually want to leave the country, in particular the youth. That's never a good thing. And another prediction that I read as well is that by the end of the century, Albania's population of 2.8 million is actually going to halve because of the low birth rate and because of people wanting to emigrate. I'm sure you'll agree with me. That is not great. And there are other problems as well. Real estate is used by a lot of people for money laundering in Albania. So if there's ever a crackdown on this, I think the real estate market could go down. And also I want to give you some other points where there's lack of infrastructure in Albania. The medical care facilities are not great either. And there is still quite a high level of corruption. Now, I'm hoping these things do change in the future, but as things stand, they are definitely a big issue in Albania, and more importantly for you guys, the real estate market in Albania. So I make these disadvantages what I think limit the growth on the Albanian coast going forward. We must hope that the salaries go up, because really as things stand, there will be no local demand for your property on the coast. So if you do decide to make an investment, where should you invest? Well, I've picked 3 areas, Saranda, Vlora and Durrës. And I'm actually going to go for Vlora. And the reason is because prices per square meter are less than Durrës and Saranda. And the government actually intends to build an international airport there to compete. Actually, they say they want to make it better than Tirana International Airport. So that combined with lower prices at the moment could see a boom in Vlora. So if you can fly directly in, this will make more tourists go there. If you do decide to buy a property, it means you can go there all year round. So property prices are likely to be higher. My second choice would be Saranda, because already it's quite well established. You can get there from Corfu. They're intending to make the airport a seasonal airport. So people will be able to fly in over the summer season. So not as good as Vlora, but still not too bad. So that will be my second choice. Durrës will be my third choice, simply because to get there, it's not too bad. You fly into Tirana International Airport, but it is an approximate 45 to 50 minute bus ride from Tirana International Airport. So if you were to choose Albania, I probably wouldn't choose Durrës for that reason. I would go for Vlora. So overall, should you make an investment? Look, I think if you make an investment in Vlora, you're not going to go far wrong. The prices are very low. Often you can get beachfront property, flats overlooking the sea, for about 700 euros per square meter. That's really good going compared to most other countries. However, I have to admit, I would still favour Bulgaria and Montenegro, simply because Bulgaria is already in the EU. The growth rate is higher and the potential for Bulgaria going forward is higher. And the prices on the coast are more expensive, but they're not a hell of a lot more expensive. You can find good property in Bulgaria for 1,000 euros per square meter, maybe not overlooking the sea, but some good apartments, let's say on Sunny Beach. And in particular Varna as well, which is a well-developed city and getting richer by the year. You can buy property for 1,000 euros per square meter. So I actually think that's a better investment. Now, I know Montenegro is more expensive still, but Tivat it has 2 English international schools, and also it's very well developed with Porto Montenegro, and the prices are still very reasonable at around 2,000 euros per square meter. It's well advanced. So I probably would go for those 2, but if you do go for the Albanian coast, in particular Vlora, I don't think it's going to be a bad investment, and I think you're going to do fine. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Are you thinking of investing in Albania? What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages? I'd love to hear comments on this video. If you do like my videos, please do click the like button. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Thanks, and have an amazing day.